Kia ora everybody! Today we are working on the WX again, and tonight what are we doing, Mike?
Choochin.
Oh yeah, we got some chooch makers and the Benny dog. Hey Benny, good boy. Anyway, so tonight we are mocking, no we're not even mocking up, we're just going to jump straight into it, right? Yeah, so I'll run you through what we've got going on here, because we've got some quite
Some Wuhan war whistles.
some Nagasaki
Schoolie boys.
Anyway, so this big boy here, here's my hand for scale. This is a Borg Warner S400. This is going on my Skyline. This one here is an HRC 40RS from Mr. Merch. That's going on the MX5. And then this is an S300 Borg Warner, and that's going on my FD. But we're going to mock up everything in this car with the Borg Warner. Why?
The Borg Warner offers FD.
Yeah, and it's bigger, which means
It's going to send the Apex seals to the moon.
more power, baby. Yeah, so what we're doing is we're going to use the larger turbo to mock everything up. It's also T4 flange. What?
No, I'm just...
Yeah, so yeah, we're going to use the larger turbo so that when we put the smaller turbo on it to begin with, it's not going to matter. We're not going to have to worry about...
Do we want to explain why we're going to use a small turbo to start with?
Mike, do you want to explain why we're using the larger turbo?
Not at all.
Oh my god. Wow. Okay, I'll start. So, we are using the larger turbo because we plan to put a bigger turbo on it later, but for now we're going to be using the turbo from the Skyline because it's already making good power, and we kind of want to see how far we can push it and how far it will go, because it was a essentially a prototype turbo that was put together by Steve Merch, and we are putting it in a different chassis, yes, but we still want to see how far we can push it.
Horsepower, still horsepower.
It's horsepower, still horsepower. Look, the turbo is really responsive. It's already making, I think it's about 450 horsepower on like 13 PSI, which is pretty impressive for a turbo that size. And it's kicking in pretty early. So we kind of want to see its limits. And because we're upgrading all the other turbos on the other cars to something else, it seems fitting to use it in this car so that way it's still utilized. So when we reach the end of the use of that turbo or the application on this car, we can then, not that one, Mike.
It's this one.
Not, not,
Just put more Doritos in, it'll be fine.
we're not using that one. That's for the 20B, Mike.
Yeah. Just put more Doritos.
Get the other one. Come on.
Yes,
Come on
yeah.
now. Come on now. Yeah. Okay. Good chat. Okay.
So
yes.
It doesn't feel anywhere near it.
So this turbo here, S300, I think it's an S362 or 66 or something. I can't remember. Could be a 72. I don't know. Anywho, that one will make potentially more power than the other one. It will come on a little bit later, but we will see. Now we may find that when we put the one off the Skyline on the Subaru, is that it's perfectly fine for this chassis. We may find it's lots of fun. We may not want to put a bigger turbo on it. We may not need more power. No, but we might just find that it's a really, really fun package, and we might not need to upgrade it or change it or anything like that. So it's going to be one of those trial and error things. Whereas,
Because last time John did that, I got 2 turbos.
yeah, Mike got my Garrett's. Anyway, so from here I'm going to stop talking because I've already been talking for 4 minutes. And we're going to go get the brace so that we can mock up the turbo in the engine bay and position it where we want it. So it's like hanging in free air, and then we can start making the runners and all that sort of stuff. So I already have the manifold flange for the engine, and I already have the manifold flange for the turbo, and then we just need to connect the two, make wastegate flanges, etc., and we'll be good to go. So Mike and I are going to jump into that and get that underway, and we'll see you back soon when it's all sort of looking happy in the air. Fucking hell, that's gonna fucking shit over it. The other side. This size.
And that's how you waste half an hour.
And so we couldn't see a trip.
Yeah. And 20 bucks worth of reducers.
So you know how I said earlier.
That John was wrong. John's wrong. John's always wrong.
Hey Mike, you know how I said earlier that we could use that?
You said all sorts of shit earlier. I'm going to listen to you.
So basically what you're saying is that I should cut these down and
I think you should do it.
no, just cut these down. Thanks, mate.
On the bright side, you learned how to tilt the head of the Bridgeport.
This is true.
Yeah. And we didn't have to resort to YouTube for that.
No, we figured it out all without a mouse.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put that back to 0-ish. And yeah. That sounds like a health and safety violation.
Mr. Michael, how far did we get tonight?
Probably we did about maybe 10 minutes worth of actual work.
And how much is because of Mike?
Probably about 3.5 hours worth.
Do you want to explain why, Mike?
Well, Mike doesn't have the mental capacity to...
Basically, Mike had this bright idea, and it was a bright idea. We
was
used
amazing.
concentric reducers.
Yep.
And then machined them on a 25 degree angle to try and make them onto the flange. But what we found was we already had the correct size tube as I first thought-ish. Anyway, but yeah, we started machining and we found out very quickly that it wasn't the right size.
We were going to have to machine them right to the very bottom where we
Started. Yeah.
where we would have been starting from.
So we jumped back on the bandwagon of the first idea and we just got the 2-inch tube ID that we had to start with, and then we made them oval, and then we put an angle on them so we can do what? Yay! Okay, so to explain what we're doing, these basically match these holes here, and we're going to weld this guy to that one. So that's got a nice strong divider plate there, and then this one we're going to scallop out this side and then weld it into this one, so we don't actually have to put a tongue or anything in the middle, which is an extra piece that we don't need for to come loose or whatever.
Basically for the turbo to eat.
Yeah, you don't want that. So yeah, this is as far as we've got. We now need to get another flange because I need one anyway. We can't use this one because
It's cheap crap.
It's cheap
That's
crap.
for through bolt and not
Yeah,
studs.
it's too thin. You can't thread it. It's not.
I mean, you can
right.
thread it with M12. Then
Yeah,
you have to drill
but-
the turbo out and
Yeah, it's a headache. Yeah. So anyway, to cap this off, we'll see you back next week with a new flange.
And us doing some actual work.
And us actually making the manifold, because that was our plan tonight. But in saying that, we did work out some stuff at the beginning. So we're pretty confident we're going to go with a water to air intercooler system. We're just trying to figure out where we're getting that from, or who we're getting that from, should I say. Because there's not really much room once the time we get the radiator up in here. Don't really want to chop the hell out of the front.
Because
And
that's got to go to fit the radiator.
yeah, basically. But we've got all this real estate here, right? So, yeah, we're just trying to figure out what the plan is. I've already got my adapter here for, where does that weight go up? This is my adapter for the fly-by-wire throttle body. So I'll probably get that ordered for next week as well. Yeah. And we've got turbo position, so we know where everything's going to sit. We can leave this exactly where it is. The chances of us using this before now and next week are pretty slim. So even if we do, it's easy to replicate. So yeah, I think that's it. So home time. So it's 9 o'clock or after 9 now. We're gonna pack up and get going, and then we'll see you back next week with hopefully making the manifold. And what do you think I should maybe try and get wastegate stuff? Or down.
No, I mean, we can do the whole manifold.
We'll do that
tacked
first.
up in the night, fabricated.
Yeah, and then maybe I can blaze it one night after work. Yeah, okay. All right, sweet. Well, look, heaps of fair work to go. Yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you soon. See ya.